All right. 3, 2, 1. What's up, George? What's going on in the House of Craze tonight?
In the House of Craze tonight, we have a very special guest. Mr. Mark Torres will be here with us, but we're also going to be talking about word of mouth. Yeah. The importance. We're going to be talking about it.
Yeah, keep your name out your mouth. Let's get it.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I'm your host with the most, Sam, the Crazy Man, Vera, and I am with
George, the Dreamer, Medina. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another exciting episode. It cracks me up every time. Welcome to another exciting episode of Catch the Craze. What's up, Lou? It is Tuesday, July 18th at Ellis, and we are coming to you live. Damn, everybody's in the house. Look at that. Paul, what up, man? Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Hail, nerds. Yeah, everybody's here, man. Yeah, we have a very exciting show tonight. We have a special guest. All right. He's going to be Paul. What up, Paul? Part 2. He's going to be, talking with us, not only just about his project that he's got called Designated, but also the 2 covers. Look at that. But also he's going to be joining us in the discussion that we have today, which will be the importance of word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth.
That's very important. So yeah, we're going to be talking to him about that. But before we jump into that, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Hit the like button if you're watching right now and you're in the chat. Hit that like button. Make sure we get the algorithms going, and just comment below on the rewatch. You will be watching these. But what's going on, Sammy? Talk to me, man.
What's going on? Come and talk to me. I really wanna meet you. Cannot talk to no. Anyway, so what's going on?
The biting of the lip automatically. It's crazy. Easy.
So what's going on? I've just been grinding. Working on getting ready. I'm leaving to LA next week for work, so I'll be traveling for work, for business. But then when I come back, I have the Denton Comic Expo that I will be doing, and then right after that, I'll be at Collected Comics with Paulie G, Paul Gomez, PTSD, Bushi Boo, and a whole lot more. So we're gonna be there together, hanging out, doing our thing, and then in September, got College Station Comic Con, and then Arlington in October. So we get doing that. All of the Kickstarters have shipped out, so everyone should be dropping in your mail. Just make sure you look at your mailbox, check with your neighbor, just in case they snatched it up. That happened to one of our backers when they snatched up a shirt that we sent. And she had to go over to her neighbor's house because she saw them wearing it. What? Remember that? That was crazy.
Drama. Yeah.
Drama. Yeah. So all of that has shipped. The landing page for issue number 6 is live. So if you haven't signed up for book number 6, I'd love for you to sign up. Hit that link. I just put it in the chat. It's going to be fun, introducing a whole lot of new characters. You got Brittany, you got Patrick, you got No Boo for You, Catching Ghosts is What We Do. There's a whole lot of new characters in this series. It's going to be popping. So there's cover B for the series right there. Boom. And there you go. You see Brittany and Patrick hanging out with Bobby. So it's going to be real. And
how do you come up with your names?
How do I come up with my names?
Yeah. Like where do they come from? Like, did you know what? Did you know Patrick?
No. I know a Patrick now, but not when I was growing up. No.
So how do you come up with them?
When I draw them, it just pops.
It's just what do they look like? Oh, this one looks like a Patrick.
Yeah, it just comes up as soon as I start drawing it. It's like bam. It's usually the illustration comes first, then the name comes right after. So that's how that works. And then I'm having an art contest. So art contest, you can win $100, 1 month of free promotion on Catch the Craze, a one-on-one interview on Catch the Craze, uninterrupted 1 hour, no commercial free. What are you talking about? And get you your bio and your headshot and your art featured in issue number 6 of There's Kneeling on My Toilet. The deadline is the 1st. We have 2 official submissions that have been submitted and 4 pending. That have contacted me, say, I'm going to be submitting something. So people are working. I think people are waiting on the sidelines to see what's being submitted. So that's cool. But yeah, so the deadline is, and at this point, just give me your best duty. Draw your best version of duty. Just get busy with it. And just make sure you go to the website and follow the instructions on where to send it to. And then we'll go from there. So, and then the winner will be announced sometime in August. And it's going to be fun. So lots of free promotion. And you guys got some stuff going on, right?
Yeah, mañana, tomorrow, from 3 to 6 p.m., we are going to be doing a book signing with Mr. Mark Torres, Jenny Feldy, Ross Braun, and myself. We're going to be at Royal Collectibles. That's 9601. Put it back. Leave it up. 9601 Metropolitan Avenue.
You'll read it.
Yeah, dude. So they can read it. So the folks can read it.
Metropolitan Avenue. I used to live out there.
Yeah. So we're going to be over there. It's going to be fun. We're going to be there from 3 to 6. Meet the team. Get your book signed. I'm bringing both of my versions. Here you go. Look at that. Boom. Two versions of that cover. Look at these covers right here.
Fantastic.
Mr.
That's James.
Mark
James.
Morris.
Is that who did that first cover?
This one, I don't know. I think it was the artist of the book. We'll ask Mark.
Okay.
And this one does look like a James style kind of thing too. But this was Russ Braun. Russ Braun did this one.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna be there for 3 hours.
just call me Bendy.
Oh.
You can call me out or call me out.
Snap. Yeah, so we're gonna be there tomorrow. It's gonna be a good time. And then if you haven't done so yet, make sure you get your copy of Russ 5377 number 1. This
Numero
is number 1.
uno.
It's available right now. You can leave it up. You can you can get it now. Go to anyoneworld.com, like it says right there.
Or go to anyone around the world.
Go to my website also. Check it out there. And issue number 2 is releasing next week on Wednesday. So yeah,
there you go.
So we got that going on, and I've been doing a little writing on the side here. I'm doing something with Paul, Mr. Hades himself. I'm gonna be working on one of his books, Dead of Night number 2. So that's coming out soon. So stay tuned for that. And then I'm doing a little, lettering behind the scenes. I'm working with a couple of things. So yeah, man, it's busy. It's busy time. And obviously I'm writing my own stuff. So yeah, we're good. We're getting busy.
Yeah. And I forgot to shout out to Kid in the Comic. Go check them out. Where is it? Where you go? There you go. The Kid in the Comic. Go to kidinthecomic.com. Duty is a comic strip in a newspaper. So Duty will be in 7 issues of A Kid in the Comic. So that's pretty dope. And I'm excited about that. The second paper is coming out soon. It's already been printed and it's going to start getting distributed. So that's pretty dope. You can get it through their website, or you can contact your local comic store or bookstore and ask them to carry it, and just direct them to akidinthecomic.com. So that's pretty amazing as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's what's going on. That's what's going on, dude. It's been quite a summer so far. So I know you guys have had crazy weather out there.
No, the heat is out of control.
Yeah, no, it's out of control. And you know what's crazy? You can't even go to the beach on the weekends because it's raining on the weekends here in New York. So it's been trash. But the good thing is it's giving me time to stay indoors and do some work. So that is the good thing.
Yeah. So if you've been seeing a lot of Duty as in a samurai, that's because there's a story that's going to be coming out.
What a segue!
Yeah. When you said that, when you said getting back to work, I was like, yeah, that's right. I've been working on that. So yeah, so there is a samurai story, one shot that I'm working on with Duty, which is why you see a lot of Duty coming out in samurai one shots. But there's a story coming out sometime the end of next year. Because once the Alien in My Toilet series is done at issue 10. Then I will be completing Duty's Monsters, because that's a 3-part mini. And then it's the samurai story that I've been working on. I've designed the characters. I already wrote the plot and all that stuff. So on my downtime, I've been working on that. So Duty's going to be an ongoing series after Disney on my toilet, because the punchline is the toilet. And so I'm moving on to just Duty, almost like Google. And then he's just going to have a lot of different stories. And so it's going to be fun. So I've been having fun just creating all these new worlds with Duty. I got a whole lot of stories in the pipeline. But unfortunately, when one person, it takes time. So I'm looking at, I should have Duty's monsters all done by the end of next year as well. So that's going to be fly. And so I'm pretty excited about that.
I'm looking forward to seeing Miss Pending's.
She's holding out. But here's something
what is it? Her version of it.
Yeah. So here's something I got, which really, really was really awesome. I got it was on social media. Where is it? So this is from someone who picked up this name in my toilet in Puerto Rico. So she commented on a piece that I put on Instagram. Says, met you at the Puerto Rico Comic Con and bought the first 4 issues. Finally got around to reading them and absolutely loved them, especially number 3. Gonna lend them to my nephew, as I'm sure he loved them too. Where can I get number 5? That made my day. I woke up this morning and I read that. I was like, what? And that's Chippy Maria 1997 on Instagram. Thank you so much. But that's pretty dope. And that's what it's all about, bro. That's made my day.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. That's what it is all about right there, man. People loving your stuff and asking you, where can I get the next one? So that's awesome, dude. Yeah. What so now issue number 5, that's something that people can actually get.
So it will be available to purchase on my website starting at the end of this week. So I didn't want to put it on the website until I shipped out all the books. So so now that the books have been shipped, the graphic novel and issue number 5 will be available on the website. And then anybody new to the Kickstarter in October, they can get anything either through my website or through the Kickstarter. So but issue number 6 will be launching on the Kickstarter in October 2nd.
Nah, good stuff, man. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing. That's what I'm doing. I mean, as far as the digital stuff goes with Russ, I'm actually gonna try to do that. Like I was talking to Hades, and we have a schedule. So every month they're gonna be coming out. Usually by the 3rd or 4th week of the month, they're gonna be coming out on the website for the next 6 weeks. So yes, follow us on our social networks, obviously, and you'll be able to catch up with all the stuff that we're doing. Yeah. But Sammy, dude.
We're gonna start that topic, and we're gonna bring in our guest to start talking. So where's this? I was about to put indie news. Look at that.
It's time for your medicine.
The importance of word of mouth. What are you talking about? What are you looking at my mouth for?
What up, Mark? Here he is.
This is why I can't draw. This is Duty right here.
I can't even see it.
Can't see it.
This guy.
Hold on, let me turn this off.
You showing your art skills?
Yeah, baby.
This is why I'm the writer.
Yes.
I'm have to snatch that up tomorrow.
I know, right? There you go.
That's what's up. Well, listen.
There you go. Now you can make a target. There you go. You got a spaceship.
I see the spaceship. Oh, there it is.
Duty. All right, I see his face. I see the round head and the round eyes.
That's something special.
Bro, you'd be surprised what makes it on TV nowadays.
I know.
You'd be surprised.
That is awesome.
That's no $100 for me right there. So everybody else gets a chance.
$100 for me. Oh man. Hey, listen, for those who are watching and don't know who this man is, this is Mark Torres. It came from the radio. He had a show way back in the day called The Comic Book Novice, and that's how far we go back.
20 years ago.
Yes, 20 years ago.
Yo, why'd you have to put that out there, bro?
It's crazy because 20 years ago, right? That's 20 years ago, Mark. And 10 years before that, you had created Doesn't You?
Yes, I did. 30 years in the making. I wrote that story 30 years ago. And it took 30 years to get it out finally. Holy crap, man. I did the radio show to get the book out. So it worked. The plan worked. Best plan ever. The 30-year plan worked.
The 30-year plan, kid. Wow. Yeah, man. No, you've been around for a long time. I remember you doing all the conventions and just kind of walking around with the camera and recording and doing all that fun stuff. We went to the studio.
You were our first radio show, bro.
Yeah, man. We thought we made it.
I was like, yo, we're celebrities, bro.
Hell yeah, dude.
I remember, I swear to you, the goosebumps we got when we drove up to the radio station. Like, yo, we made it.
Well, because it was at a radio station, bro. Like, people weren't doing like you were actually, and you're still on the radio. Like you really are on the radio. Like you go. When is it on here in Westchester County, right?
Yeah.
We're right now, as of 2 weeks ago, we're back on GBB, 6 p.m. live every Sunday, but we're also on. So that's WGBB is 95.9 FM. It's also 12:40 a.m., 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single Sunday. We're also the replays are on Westchester County on 88.1 FM WARY, and then we're on like 4 other online radio stations, and then we're on podcast places, over 45 different podcast places. So you can find us anywhere.
Yeah, seriously. So let me ask you this, because I don't think I've ever asked you this question, Mark. How the hell did you do it? Like way back in the day, you know, you got this like radio station. Like how did you do it? How did you make them believe that a show about independent creators can actually work on the radio?
So it's I would say 2 to 3 different little steps beforehand. There was a show out in Texas, I believe, and they had their own comic book radio show, and I had heard of them. I was like, oh, that sounds like a cool idea. And then in New York, there was a comic book radio show on WBAI called Nuff Said with Ken Gale.
Yes, I was on Nuff Said Radio too. Yeah, we drove out to his radio station. Yeah,
so I heard that. I was like, well, that's kind of cool, a radio show about comics. And then I would say a couple of years later, I had the idea to make the radio show because I was driving home from the cemetery and I heard on the radio, hey, do you have a passion for a specific item? Do you want to talk to experts in your field? And I was like, wait, if I could talk to experts in my field, I'll be able to get my book published. So let me make this radio show. And then I had to figure out what kind of format it was going to be, how we were going to do it. And I modeled it originally after The View. When the View first came out, they had Barbara Walters, they had the senior person, they had the person that liked to talk, they had the person who was informative, and then they had like the person just try to keep things going. So then I had to find my team, and I put the team together, and then we started doing it little by little, and the show kept on getting better and better and better as we went along.
Damn, man, that's quite a story, dude. Quite a story. But see, and the reason why I asked that question is just to segue kind of like into what we're going to be talking about today, which is word of mouth, right? When we're small, when we're indies, word of mouth is big time, man. Like it really, it's the cheapest way, obviously, right? But how do you guys approach? And you know, this is going to be like an open discussion. Like as far as like word of mouth, for me, you know, it's telling a friend, tells a friend, who tells a family member, and then another family member. And for the most part, it works. Sometimes it doesn't, you know what I mean? But what do you guys think? I guess we could just start talking about that thing.
It's the original grassroots movement. Like in the old days, you heard watched a TV show that you really liked. You told your friends about it. There was no online. You watched the show. Hey, did you see the show? I didn't hear the show. This was about. Let me go watch it. And then people watched it. So originally, that was how important word of mouth is. Now, because of social media, it's extremely more important. However, it's now doubly as hard because everybody's doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, you know, and it was back there was a friend of ours named Noel. We just met, and he had a big G.I. Joe collection, right? But he was selling them, and he was selling them for like $2-3, right? What? You know, whatever. So I found out on the DL. I found out on the DL, and because I was going back to the block with all these G.I. Joe figures, and so one of my other friends followed me to where I was getting them, and then he got there and he told, and it was just crazy. And that's how it started, right? So I think, you know, I think it's harder to Mark said, it's harder today because everybody's doing the same things and everybody's using the same tools. You know, back then you had a community, right? And the community was closer back then than it is today, right? You know, you really had someone posted online like they miss the groups, right? You know, where you went and you picked up comics, and then you went to the pizzeria and you talked about the comics, and you know, you went to the cons together and all that stuff. It's changed so much. There's a lot of lone wolves today, right? So, and there's a lot of you know, you're working with people internationally today, so you're not actually going anywhere, collaborating together. So I think today it's good, you have to be creative. You have to be really creative, and you have to really try to outthink, because, and remember, it's not sustainable. So if you come up with an idea and then someone picks up on it because it's working, they're going to take that idea, and someone else is going to take that idea, and now you have to come up with something else, because now it's diluted, and it doesn't have that same appeal. Because if I'm a customer, and like, for instance, like I do the trading cards, right? That works for me. Right. And so, but then someone else is going to say, yo, that works for him, I'm going to do that. Then I do that. Then now I got to do something different. So you always got to try to reinvent yourself today with word of mouth. But the goal is on social media. How do you get people to repost? How do you get people to retweet? How do you get people to engage? That's what makes it hard, because you're not connected to them on a personal level. Where back in the days, there was that connection, there was that community, there was that bond.
You know, I was talking to I was talking about, I can't remember, but we were talking about like how brands usually, you know, pay thousands of dollars for influencers, right? The influencers. Yeah. And those influencers go online and they'll get on their thing, and I'm cooking tonight, and I'm using the pot that I got from whatever brand it is.
Macy's.
And all of a sudden that brand, boom, everybody looks at that thing. I've noticed that we don't, and I don't know if you guys know of any comic book influencers. You know, people who are so popular that they just go online and say, "Hey, I just picked up this book at a comic book shop today. You guys should really pick this book up. Here's the link to the," because that's word of mouth nowadays. That's the new word of mouth, the influencer, right? That's the new word of mouth. And I think if we can figure out how to do that, where like we're each kind of saying, "Hey, this is, you know, what you want to pick up." Obviously, that would cost money because influencers get paid a lot of money. But I feel like that would work. I remember I posted in the, you know, just a story about, and I'm no influencer, but I posted a story about my Wham stands, those little stands to put your books on at conventions. And you know, and Moose hit me up and he was like, "Yo, thank you so much for posting that," you know, in a hope that it would get other people to buy. And sure enough, Sam, I think you picked up a couple. I know Keith Gleason and Johnny C picked up a couple of them. So that's the new word of mouth. And I think that we have to start using social media to promote. There's
like 5 people that hit me up and said, "Where'd you get that made?" And I forwarded it to him. Yeah. Right.
And all of a sudden, it's like the G.I. Joe story, right? Yeah. All of a sudden, all your friends are going to get that. Now, the other thing is, how do we do it? Because what happens, I think, is that we're all trying to create. So am I really going to go in there and say, "Hey, go buy Mark's book," when I want them to buy Russ 5377? You know what I mean? Like, and that's, I think, where we got to kind of like put that to the side and say, "Okay, let me help. Let's help each other out." I don't know. I mean, do we just say, "Hey, go pick up my book. Here it is. Go pick it up. Here's the link." You know, does it work the same? I don't know.
I think a need has to be created.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about this when you guys were talking. If you think of the ultimate word of mouth, if you remember the Nintendo cartridges, everybody knew to blow in the cartridges. There was no internet. Everybody just knew because it was a need.
Bro. That is true.
So then I guess it has to do with the product. You have to make something that they need, and then you're like, "Oh, we need this. Let me go find out." And then that's how the organic word of mouth will happen.
That's so funny, Mark. You said that, bro, because you're right. There was no commercial. There was no Nintendo didn't come out with a commercial. "Hey guys, in case our crappy, cartridges don't work, just blow in them." And
the weird thing is, if you look on the back, it says "Don't blow on them."
No. So how did that get around? Word of mouth. You just went to your buddy's house. He was doing it. You went to your house. I'm doing it. Another guy that was at my house, he's doing it. He takes it over. It's like wildfire, right? Like it just spreads.
Yeah. And I think it's like when I first went to the first candy store that had a spinner rack. It was because my buddy was a collector of comics, and he says, "If you like G.I. Joe, you need to come with me here." And we went to the comic store, and that's when I saw Sergeant Rock on the spinner rack, and then I started collecting Sergeant Rock, and then it became G.I. Joe, and then it evolved from there. But it was word of mouth because I didn't know where to buy them. I knew that my mom had Archie comics, but my first comic was Sergeant Rock because I was with a friend. And then the great thing is that we would read the comics and we would talk about it, and in groups, and we would sit at the park, and we're there with our chips and our sodas, and we're just there, and then we're talking about the characters, and then all that stuff. It's like, I think it's when you, number one, you have to create a buzz and demand. There's got to be an appeal, because you're in a sea that is heavily populated, and so what's special about you? So you got to work harder. It's different today, and today the attention span is different. Back then, you didn't have all those distractions, so you would read from cover to cover. You would have time to create. You go and explore and do all these crazy things. Today, people want a series to binge watch it in one night, and then they're on to the next. And if it doesn't come back, it doesn't come back. They just moved on to the next thing. So how do you do that? And I think it's creating that community online. But you need people like the young lady, right, to post why they like the book, because now she put it on her social feed. Her people see it, they come over and let me check that out. What was it about that book that she likes it so much? And then that hopefully becomes a domino effect.
Yeah, I think they've been instances where, like, we've been at conventions. I know that I've been at conventions, and somebody bought a book, and somebody else comes by later on and say, "Hey, my buddy just bought this book. I wanted to pick it up because it was something they were interested in." You know what I mean? So it can work. So you guys are saying we need to blow our comics. So it does. I mean, it does obviously work. It's just a matter of finding. I don't know. I mean, how do you spread it? That's the thing, right?
Yeah, you got to be a door-to-door salesman. Paul Gomez is a perfect example of that, right? He went door-to-door in Texas to comic shops and got his stuff on the shelves. Then because of that, then he started doing book signings in the stores, right? And started building and cultivating his following from that point, all right? It requires time, which is why I prefer conventions. I prefer conventions because I'm looking at the long game, and I'm looking for repeat customers. It's harder to get that customer on social media because it's just another post in other people's eyes, right? So, but you have to work 10 times as hard. It's just when you get that person, hopefully they're reposting it. Hopefully, they're supporting it and with their community and saying, "Yo, you need to check this out." But there's no secret sauce. It's everything's trendy, everything's based on taste, and what's happening at the time.
Yeah, man.
I can tell you. I mean, it's like for instance, someone will pick up your book, right? Say you have a campaign, right, and you're on book number 8, right? Some of the people will come, from book 2, they'll forget about it, moved on to other things, and then around book 6, you campaign a year later, they're like, "Oh, that's right. Let me go see where it is now," and they come back, right? So, they're not always going to be there, but if you're constantly communicating, if you cultivate that email list, and if you respond to people when they reach out to you in a timely manner, you're one step ahead of the game. But word of mouth, I mean, you got to create a buzz. You got to get people excited. And how do you get them excited today?
Yeah.
What excites people? It also would help if you reach the people that aren't normally in that circle.
Yes.
Because, like I said, as they're creating a need. So if you're around people who don't read comic books at all, and you have one guy with a comic book, like, "Oh, I have a comic book. Have you read this comic book? Oh, here's a book for you." As opposed to in a group where everybody's reading comic books, what's one more comic?
Yeah.
Right. I got you. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's like it's figuring it out. It's and cons are great. Cons are great for that kind of stuff. But I think even outside of the cons, I think using the social that's what we have right now, right? That's where the people are. I was telling Sam, I think now the age group of people who are buying comics is between 30 and 35, right? Like that's it used to be 20 to 20, 18 to 25. Now I saw it's gone up. The age group has gone up with the new movie, The Sound of Freedom. You guys,
there is a movement. No, Annibal's true. That's happening for word of mouth, right? Because Hollywood shut it down. Hollywood tried to bury it. They didn't want it to get released. I went on opening day with the entire family. We bought like an entire row in the theater. And the theater was glitching, shutting it down, rewinding, shutting it down, and all the theaters,
they were doing that during the while you paid your money to go watch this movie, and they were doing that to the movie while you were watching it.
Yeah, and so they gave us free passes for next screenings, but it's been happening all over the country at the same theaters. They either turn off the AC or the power's out or the audio because they don't want this out there. But what happened was they went and they went on tour, and they got, Mel Gibson's behind it. You got Ashton Kutcher's behind it. You got some big names pushing it, but they're fighting against a bigger entity. And because of word of mouth, if you go on TikTok, it's all over the place. If you go on Facebook, it's all over the place, and people are promoting it and saying you need to go and check this out. They're trying to shut it down, and now it's like it's almost $100 million that it's already and it was number one at the box office.
I think it went up. Like movies usually don't go up. Like the percentage of sales don't go up the next week. This one did. This one went up like 38% or something like that from the first week, which is kind of crazy. But what's the movie that you watched? What is it about?
It's about child trafficking. It's $1 billion global business, and they're kidnapping kids and they're selling them for slavery or sex trade. It's a really it's hard to watch, but I shared it on all my platforms. I say you need to go and see this movie. You need to go to see this movie.
Yo, you shared it. I haven't seen it.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? I haven't seen you share it at all. Like
I shared it on Facebook 5 times.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
I've not seen it.
Nope, did not see it either.
That is insane, but that's the power.
So just letting everybody know, as I've mentioned many times on my show, I used to work for a movie theater for 10 years, and that crap does happen, but it happens very infrequently. We've had movies that just crap out. We've had AC just crap out. So it is possible.
No, this was happening. This was happening.
Frequent global across the
yeah. It's been all over the place.
It's possible to happen at one movie theater, but for it to happen in
and everybody passed on it. Nobody wanted to touch it. Netflix didn't want to touch it. Amazon didn't want to touch. Nobody wanted to touch it.
I have tons of stories about movie theaters, so I just tell you,
really? It could like based on movies that they didn't want people to watch, or just
no, I'm based on just crapping out.
Just bad equipment. I gotcha.
Yeah, I'm just saying it could happen on like one theater, but it's such an overall trend, and that's the other thing. If you think about it, the two things that help word of mouth more than anything else, besides creating a need, is controversy and boobs.
Yeah.
So you have a controversy. People will be like, "Oh, I'm outraged at this thing. I don't even know what it is, but I'm outraged." And then they'll fuel the fire, and that'll make more people be outraged about something or boobs. I cannot tell you how many times my co-host Elman Jenny Feldy posts something, and we'll get more traction reactions on her post than anything else that I have done.
Yeah. No, it's true, dude. It is true, man. I mean, it used to happen at shows. Like I remember the first show that we did. Sam, remember the first show we did? We brought our girlfriends with us, and how well did we do that day? They don't even have to show boobs. Girls just have to be sitting at the booth with you.
Show up,
right? They just got to be there, and guys would just come up and just buy the book just because the girl is selling it to them.
Yeah, they're not even looking at you. They're paying. They're staring at the girls.
They don't even
take my money. Take my money.
I'll buy 2 of them. I'm not gonna read any one of these. I'm just.
This is like you doing.
Yeah, exactly. No, but you're right. I think that those are the things, right? That will cause word of mouth, is that controversy. And this is a perfect example of it. The Sound of Freedom, for example, we're talking about it, right? Now, will anybody, I mean, depending on the algorithms and what's going on, will anybody even hear this? You know what I mean? If you put the hashtag Sound of Freedom right now, it'll probably get buried. It'll probably get buried, right? It'll probably get buried just because it's there. Big names. Yeah, big names.
Yeah, and I think that's what, when you were saying that earlier, George, you were talking about the influencers. But I think some of the big names in comics, if they endorse you, that helps, right? So, like for instance, I'll bring up something like for instance, like what Dustin Brunel's doing, his product, right? It's very scantily clad. If Brian Pulido held it up on his live stream and said, "Yo, you need to check this out," his thing would take off even more than what it's doing now, because he's been very successful with his product. But it's in line with what he's doing, right? So it's like if you have somebody in that same genre or even a big name and they introduce you to their audience, that's a boost to you. But you got to get them to want to pick it up, want to read it, and like it, because when you're in the comic game, you don't read as much as you did when you were starting out. When you're hungry, you want to learn from everything. You're reading as many books, whatever. But then when you're in the game and you're working on your own book, I can tell you, I got about 50 comics that I've backed on Kickstarters that are in the closet that I'm waiting to read. I haven't read them yet because I'm so busy with everything else. I mean, I still have, like, for instance, I wanted this book, the Art of Zelda, and it's a thick book. I still haven't taken off the plastic, and I got this a few weeks ago, right? And it's making the time. So you think about it, if you got to get somehow, like what Mark said, how do you get people outside of your scope and your industry to take notice of what you're doing? And how do you introduce it? That's why I said on the Craze and 10 or Less, go to the public libraries, do readings of your book, go to local schools, go to your community street fairs, introduce it to a different group of people, because they're going to, my mail lady, when she found out that I do comic books, she's backed every single one of my campaigns. And then she introduced it to her friend, who introduced it to a friend, right? And so that's how it works. You got to get the people that are not in the game to take notice of what you're doing, and hopefully they like it enough that they want to share it and continue to support, and pick up the book and read it.
Now here's a story that I don't know if you guys know Mike Kingston, who does Headlock. Do you know him?
No, I don't know.
So he does a wrestling comic. He's been doing it for years.
Oh, okay.
And he goes out to all the big conventions. He's worked from the ground up making a comic book about wrestling. And he's gone to conventions, and he knows a lot of wrestlers, and he goes to signings. And he's gotten bigger and bigger over the years. He was one of our first interviews 100 years ago. And he managed to get his book in front of the eyes of The Rock. And The Rock mentioned it, but nothing ever came out of it. So even The Rock couldn't get, him to that next level.
Yeah. I wonder how did he met, like, you just, I guess, in passing, he
posted it on like a TikTok thing. So he's like, hey, if I can get this to The Rock, because it's about wrestling, he's a wrestler, blah blah blah. And I think the movie The Wrestler had just came out, so it was kind of hot. He's like, hey, friends out there, if you can get this to him, and they tweeted and it got to him.
Damn.
And then he's like, hey, he mentioned it, and I was like, holy crap, it was a big deal, but it still didn't go anywhere beyond that.
But it's crazy. The word of mouth got it to The Rock.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That was powerful enough to get it to him. It just didn't,
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like, what happens after that? Like, is it the product at that point? Is that what's happening? The product is just not as appealing, or is it that it was the wrong person? But you figure it was The Rock, right? Like, that was the perfect person to get it to. I don't know.
And he's told me many times, he's like, every time he gets, he tries to get it out to like Hollywood or TV, they're like, yeah, there was a wrestling movie again. We don't need another wrestling movie. He's like, yeah, but there's like 30,000 Westerns or 30,000 horror movies. Why is that wrestling the genre instead of a niche one film out there?
That's interesting, because as popular as wrestling is, the movies normally there aren't that many. You know what I mean?
The book is actually good. You should go check it out, Headlock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're going to make a buzz, you're going to have to spend some money. If you want to, it's connecting with the right, you might have like, for instance, there are podcasters and comics that have over 100,000 followers or subscribers on the channel, but you're going to have to pay to play, because you're probably not, if you're an indie, it's probably not something that they're into, because those guys that are over 100,000, they're into Marvel, DC, the mainstream stuff, right? So you're probably gonna have to pay to say, hey, can I get exposure on your show? And it's gonna cost. So, and those are the things that people have to consider if you're looking to go that route. But I still say, you have a community in your neighborhood. How many people in your neighborhood know that you exist and what you do, right? It's like that. There's the YMCA, there's the community center, there's things where people congregate who they even know that you exist and what you do. Start there. Build that relationship there, cultivate that. I think everyone wants to, go to the head of the class, right? But at the end of the day, no one knows. So Go to your next door neighbor. Hey, Will, I know we never spoke, but hey, what do you do?
I was just
right?
gonna say they gotta like you though.
Yeah,
you better hope your neighbors like you. Because if they don't like you, they're not gonna support you. Like, they're just not.
I'm not talking about it like he in the South Bronx, and he's like that. But it's what's up, Dylan? But it's like here, like I love my neighborhood, right? All my neighbor, they were all welcoming when I got here. All my neighbors are legit, and so little by little, I've been exposing what I do. And I didn't say it in the beginning, it's like, let me feel out the neighborhood and see what's going on, right? And that's what's been helping, and that's my strategy for 24 is doing exactly what I've been preaching. I'm going to do the community centers. I'm going to do the street fairs. I'm going to do everything in my town and build from there. You got to start somewhere. And look, if you can get 5, 10, 15, 20 people to pick up your book, you're heading in the right direction.
I think, I agree. I think it all takes time though. And that's the thing. You have to be willing, even the networking online, that takes time. And if you don't like it, you're not going to do it. And I get that. If you're more comfortable going out into the street and doing that hustle, like the old school hustle, then that's fine. Yeah. I just think you have to do something though. Like something's got to get done.
Figure out what works for you.
Yeah, exactly. What are you comfortable doing? You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes we got to come out of our comfort zone, man. Sometimes it's not easy to just, hey, by the way, I have a comic, and they're like, get the, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know what they're gonna say, so you kind of hide behind the thing.
Like, who you is?
Yeah, that's like a comic. What the hell?
What?
But you'd be surprised sometimes when you do mention that stuff, and they're like, oh my god, I got kids. What's your comic book about? All of a sudden.
Like, for instance, like the back of my iPhone, I have this thing, the cover. It's Duty, right? And I'm at a coffee shop. I have it laid down. Hey, what's that? What's that character? What is that? And I was like, oh, that's my character. I draw comics. Boom. It's a conversation starter, right? You never know. And I always lay it down with the top facing up so that so people see that. And you got to find ways to try to break the ice, start a conversation, and engage. I can tell you right now, I never liked the engagement part in the beginning. I had to work on that stuff. I'm still working on the art of communicating online. I think, because, when you have a podcast, you get a lot of communication. I want to be in your show, and you get all this stuff. So it's hard, when you have a job and you have a family and you're trying to work on your book and you're working on the podcast, you do all these things, right, to keep up with all of that stuff. So on social media, I'm not very active in the conversations. I'm complimentary on things that I like, but I'm not really active, and that's not my strength, right? And hats off to all of you out there who are really good at that. Something I know that's not a strength of mine, and something I know I have to work on, but I have to pick and choose my battles. So you got to figure out what's going to work for you, but you got to put in the grind, you got to put in the hustle, and you got to reinvent yourself every day, because whatever idea you have, somebody else is thinking past you already did that. Right. So, test the waters, test and try, and don't stop.
Yeah, man.
Has it more difficult to do a positive thing on social media? Like I said earlier, the negativity, the controversy, that explodes.
Yeah.
Right? How many people heard of Britney with the slap? Like, we all know about that.
Yeah, nobody knows who the hell Wemby is, but they know that she got slapped by his
exactly.
His detail. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. But then if you want to say, like, oh, somebody who's doing good, it's harder to find because that doesn't get the likes, that doesn't get the attention, that doesn't get all that extra stuff. So if you're doing something positive, like Sam is with a children's family-friendly book, it's not a children's book, it's a family-friendly book, it's that much harder to do that because he's trying to do something positive. And the feel-good stories are always at the little end of the newscast, very little bit. Oh, this guy's making a thing. 30,000 people died, but this guy's making a really cool book.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, look at that. Story. Look at that kid on social media, right? He broadcast live that this guy died in front of him. He got millions of subscribed followers from it. Right? Because why are you celebrating something? You're dying over a corpse. You're standing over a corpse and you're broadcasting it. It's like, this guy died, man. Right? But that's where we are, so it's harder. I think, I was telling George offline. I got a call out of the blue, from my sister-in-law, and she says, don't stop what you're doing. I said, what do you mean? She goes, and exactly what you just said, Mark. There's a lot of stuff out there that's contributing to why we're so challenged as a society, but what you're doing is really good. Don't stop, right? I didn't know I needed that message. It came out of the blue. You know, it was one of those moments when you're thinking about, man, you know, when, how, all these things, you start questioning yourself, right? And then it came. It says, keep doing it. You have a great story. You have a great product. Keep doing it, right? And it's those moments, right, that is that fuel. You never know. But again, I love my character. I'm not going to stop what I'm doing as long as I have my health, because I love it. And I'm going to put in the work and try to get into as many people's hands as possible. Look at Puerto Rico. It was a challenged event. But to get a comment for somebody who picked up 4 issues over there to say, hey, you have number 5, that's fantastic. You know what I mean? So
hurricane, you had to climb over a fence.
Yeah, I had a rooster poop on me. Yeah, it was awesome. But you know what I'm saying? So it's like you gotta find your lane, and you gotta be comfortable with what you're willing to do, but do something. If you're gonna create, you have to promote, and most people don't want to promote. And start in your neighborhood, man. Start in your own neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, man. Hey, listen, it's not gonna be easy, right? It's not gonna be easy, but I think word of mouth is a good way to start. I think if anything else, you know, and like you said, Mark, create that need, right? Create that need, or make it controversial. Smack somebody with your comic book. You know what I mean? Oh, that guy smacked somebody with a comic book. What comic book did he smack him with? Designated. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta make it. You gotta do something. There
crazy. You go. There's a marketing strategy right there from the Medina, right there.
It's funny you mentioned that, because when I was doing the promotion for the book, when we were doing it on a Kickstarter, I went on like a bazillion different shows promoting it. Mm-hmm. And one guy, he said, because I have an Asian guy and a black guy, he was like, you should just tell everybody, if you don't buy this book, they're racist. I'm like, that's hilarious. But I'm like, no, I can't do that.
No. Wow.
No.
Damn. Holy cow. Yo, Mark, quick question about, now that you mentioned the cover.
Yeah.
The interior artist did this cover, right?
No, this is Francesco. This artist is Francesco, who was most famous for drawing the Savage She-Dragon. He did a lot of covers for Zenoscope. Actually, this is the variant cover, which is only 75 in existence. Oh. And this is the only time he's ever been inked by anybody else, which is by Peter Palmiotti, who's Jimmy's brother. Because Francesco draws digitally. He was one of the first digital artists back in the day.
God.
And so when he drew this, Peter Palmiotti was like, hey, I want to ink it. Where's the original? And there is no original. And he's like, well, what do you mean there's no original? Because it's digital.
Oh,
I thought James did that cover.
This one?
James Rodriguez?
Rodriguez, yeah. It looked like his style. I thought it was him.
No, this is definitely Francesco.
Oh. Yeah, and then this one is Russ Braun,
who draws the Boyz. And who mentioned, it was really cool. I did not ask him to do it at all. He mentioned on Facebook today, he posted that anybody who comes down for the book signing and buys a book, he'll do a free sketch for you.
So, holla.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice. Yeah. So now that you guys have heard this, for those watching, spread that word of mouth. Let everybody know we're going to be there tomorrow, and Russ Braun is doing free sketches for anybody who purchases a book. Now, obviously his cover.
Yes.
Yeah, this is dope, man. This is dope. And Jenny's going to be there with the.
She's going to be dressed up as the guy. Yeah, see, we got a booth bay, we got everything.
Back in the days when we wanted to communicate and spread the word, we go on the roof and go, hooty hoo.
Back in the days.
It was so much easier to create a buzz back in the days, bro. Somebody came to school with the new kicks. It went like wildfire. Where'd you get it? At the Coliseum. Everybody went to the Coliseum in Jamaica Avenue. Right? Yeah. It's like boom. So it was so easy back then. Today, it's just like it's so hard. It is like, damn, it's like there's so much to it. And it's like you have to pick. That's like for me, I have to like schedule it on my calendar a day that I'm just because in Texas, everything so far, spend a whole day going out there and building those relationships and networking because you got to spend time creating, especially if you're you're creating your own stuff. So it's like, but you gotta find what works for you. That's why I said my strategy is the 2024 strategy on what I want to do, and I've already started laying the foundation for that for next year. And that's what and you got to think of it like a business. Organizations they come up with marketing plans a year out,
Hell yeah.
right? You know, so they got a product. They know that it's a year. The team's been working on it when the product's in development, right? And the more information they get on the product, the more they start designing who, how, what they're gonna do, what avenues they're gonna choose. So think of it that way. You don't have to just do it the same day you printed the book. You should be talking about it ahead of time. And then when you get there and you have that physical copy, now go and show all the people you've been talking to. This is what it looks like. What if you're talking to a bookstore, if you're talking to a library, whatever it is. And get out there. And sometimes you have to give stuff away for free too.
But the hardest thing is reaching that audience, because if you think about it, as you said, the marketing campaign is full-fledged. Like movie studios, they announce what movies are coming out 2 to 3 years ahead of time. This is when it's coming out.
Yeah.
And if you look at right now what's happening, right this very second, the actors and the writers are on strike.
Yeah.
That's messing up everything down the line. But if you notice, the coverage was more happening as soon as the actors went on strike as opposed to the writers. The writers been on strike for 70-something days. Right. We're 4 days into the actor strike, and now they're all over the news. The Fran Drescher's talking, the nanny's in charge. I'm like, what the hell's going on? What about
I didn't even know she was in charge.
Have been struggling for 70-something days. 2 months, over 2 months already.
Yeah.
Where's their word of mouth? Where's their attention? It's the same exact thing.
Yeah. And you mentioned a year out. I remember when, we're talking about, just big studios, The Flash, right? You see how it's flopping, right? It's not doing well. Obviously, they had issues with the main character, with the main actor, Ezra Miller, whatever. But somebody said something very interesting in one of the YouTube channels that I watch, and they said that movie might have done better, or all those movies that DC came out, and we're talking about strategies, had what's his name? The guy who's taken over for DC, had James Gunn not come out at the beginning of January saying, hey, we're going to reboot this whole thing. So what happens to the movies that are coming out? That's the old regime. This is the new regime. So what happened is he made those movies irrelevant. So that was a failed mark. And it happened. My point is, it happens even to the big guys. So your strategy, you got to really think about what you're going to do and how it may hurt your product down the line. The things you say today, the things you do today, how they're going to affect that product that you're planning to put out next year, because it could backfire on you. So this guy was so excited about the fact that he's taking over. Hey, you don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm putting out a new Superman. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Well, what happens to The Flash and all these other movies that are coming out? That's, and you're seeing the effects of it now. With the fly, all those movies have flopped, dude. All of them, they can't even, you know what I mean? And I don't know if it's a thing at the movies, because a lot of the blockbusters you would see in the summer aren't doing as well as they would. Like last year, like Mission Impossible just came out, flop. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of movies. Yeah, it's not doing what they thought it was.
They were expecting Top Gun numbers,
right,
and they didn't even break $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Top Gun was legit. I enjoyed it.
Top Gun was good, bro.
That was legit. That was
and that was word of mouth. That was people saying, "Hey, this movie was really good. Check it out." And people were like, "Oh, really? I got to go check it out." You know what I mean? And it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
That was a 30-year-old movie and 30-year-old sequel, and it blew away all the numbers.
Yes.
He killed it at the box office. I mean, what they're banking on is they already have a pipeline of finished product that they can, and so they're looking at they can outlive the strike, right? So they're playing hardball, because you think about it right now, all the things that they're promoting right now, you got Dune, you got all the Star Wars stuff that's coming out on Disney Channel, you have Expendables, you got all these things coming out. You have what is it? The Equalizer Part 3 or 4, whatever. That I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. So they got a lot of things in the pipeline that's coming out. So they're going to play hard. I mean, I think it was Bob Iger who said, go AI to replace everybody. I was like,
the problem with that mentality the problem with the mentality of, oh, that stuff's in the can, we could just do it. Yo, what up, Mike? Is that you need those actors to promote the movies. Yes. And they're not going to promote the movies because they're on strike.
Yeah.
So that idea,
and it's, you know what, it's perfect for the Sound of Freedom, because that's what everybody's talking about right now. That's the buzz. That's the buzz in the street. Yeah. And that was the little man. And that's the Rocky story, bro. They're trying to shut them down. They threatened their lives. They did all these things, and it's the little engine that could. And that's the story that people love. Is that also the sad thing about? And I think it was Dave Chappelle said it. People love to see the hero fall, right? So no matter they're gonna celebrate you for a moment until they get a tired of you, and then they want you to fail, and so they come down. So it's like it's a tough industry, and it's a tightrope you got to walk in today's world.
Yeah, but you know what? It's funny that you say that with the hero falls. I think that everybody wants to see him fall, but then there's something about when he comes back. I think I was watching the Arnold documentary. I don't know if you guys seen that.
Yeah.
And he talks about when he did that movie. What was that? The hero movie that he did that Last Action Hero. How it flopped, and he thought it was over, and then all of a sudden he comes back with True Lies, and his career all of a sudden was back on track. You're gonna have those things. You're gonna be here. You're gonna be at the top, and when you're there, you're gonna fall. It's what happens when you fall. How you come back up that really matters and really, tests you.
Same. I mean, it happened to Stallone. I mean,
those two used to go back.
Yeah,
I didn't realize they were such.
Was it Stop or My Mama Shoot or Throw Mama for the Train? Which was the one with Stallone?
Mama Shoot.
Yeah, right. So that was right. So I mean, so he had a series of flops, right? And then he just disappeared for a little bit, and then he came back and he started re-releasing the Rockies and all this other stuff. It's like, what, right? And everybody goes through that, but it's unfortunate the way we are. We'll put you on a pedestal, then we'll vilify you. It's like
we'll take you down, baby.
Yeah,
no, for sure, man, for sure. You gotta be ready for it.
So without gimmicks, without controversy, the only thing anyone has is focus on the product. You have to make the product as best as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And if you put your all into it, and you can be proud of putting it out, that's another way to get that word of mouth going.
Well, that's the thing, because people will tell other people, but like it has to be good. You know what I mean? Like people, because word of mouth works the other way too. This thing is crap, bro. Don't get it. This is garbage.
But again, I go back to a matter of taste, because same thing with Lord of the Rings. You don't like Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings.
But I'm the minority. Right?
But I'm saying, but it's a matter of taste, right? So good is in the eye of the beholder, right? So I think it's really is, even if you have, we've seen it. We've seen guys where we're like, it's like, but they hustle. They connect and they promote and they move the product and they get the recognition and notoriety because they put in the work too. So I think it's a combination of likability, it's a combination of hustle, and it's a combination of putting in the work, right? So you got to have all of those. You have to have the trifecta, bro.
But I think the product still has to be something, and maybe the word good, maybe the word whatever, but it's got to be something that people can sell or people can buy, or a company can look at it and say, I can make money off of this. I can really push this. Because you look at something like South Park, right? South Park, not the best artwork in the world, but people love that show. Why? Because of the comedy, because I was written, you know what I'm saying? Did any of you see Son of Peanut any good? That son of a bitch. But you know what I'm saying? But like, so it does have to have an appeal. Maybe not the word good, but the product does have to have an appeal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It has to. It has to. It won't work without, regardless of taste and all that other stuff. It's got to have a mass appeal too. It can't just be appeal. It's got to have mass appeal.
Think about this. If you go back and think about the Blair Witch Project, that was a word of mouth movie. Think about what was the other one? The one with the black and white that they made like a whole bunch of them, and then it was the Spanish people. It was with the daughter, and then the freaking Paranormal Activity.
Oh, the Spanish people. Holy shit.
Yeah, the house. The Paranormal Activity. That was scary.
That was like the fifth one. There was like the Spanish people, and and he actually went back to the first one. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same.
Those things were just incredible marketing campaign, and people were like, "Oh, did you hear about?" Especially when they thought they were really dead. If you remember that, the Blair Witch, they thought it was a real thing. Yeah, they thought it was dead.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with UFC, right? No one wanted to pick up UFC. Dana White was able to convince the network to do. They did Ultimate Fighting Championship, right? And the winners fought for a contract, and it was Stephan Bonner and I forgot the other guy's name. And it was that fight. It went 5 rounds, and every round people were calling, "You got to see this fight." It was a bloody mess, and these guys were going toe to toe and blow for blow, and the phones were off the hook, and it went from a couple of 100,000 people to millions and millions of people just because word of mouth. They were calling, "You got to see this fight. You got to see this fight." And that secured the future for the UFC because that's how they got their contract with the networks, right? And so word of mouth is you got to get people excited. And how do you get people excited?
Yeah, and I think timing too, man. That timing has a lot to do with it because
Yeah.
at the time when UFC was coming out and coming up, boxing was struggling.
Yeah.
And people needed an outlet because boxing in the 80s, boxing in the 70s was 15 rounds of just two guys beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
As boxing evolved, 12 rounds, the rounds got, less rounds, don't do this. There, it changed. And so people were like, no, they still wanted the blood sport. So that's when UFC came around and they fulfilled the need. Again, going back to the need, right? They fulfilled the need.
Think about it, because it's timing, right? You said it.
Yeah.
UFC was taboo. It was, I think it was on Showtime, Showtime or whatever.
Showtime.
Yeah, it was Showtime. And I remember watching it, and it was you have 2 to 3 fights a night. So you go in, you fight. If you won, you sat out. Then there was the next fight. Whoever won that fight, you fought that person. And there were no rules. And it was just like they would knee you on the floor. They would guide you. People walking over
there
broken
were no
legs.
weight classes. There were no
yes.
weight classes.
You would have a 100-pounder fighting a 400 sumo.
Yeah, there were no
it was
weight classes, bro.
yes. It was. It was. I'd never seen anything like it, and I was glued to it. Right. And that was when it was. And it wasn't sanctioned anywhere. Nobody wanted. New York was definitely not picking it up, and then all of a sudden it went from they sold it for $3 million. The Dana White convinced the guys to buy it. And then he said, I believe it. And they believed in him. And they were spending millions of dollars because they believed in him. Yeah. And he went out and he hustled his ass off. And he went out there and he promoted it. And he put it out there. And it was because of his efforts. That's why it was. That's what I'm saying. Even if you have the product, you have to have that marketing genius, that appeal that's going to get people excited about it.
Right.
This is a good one. I was just thinking about when you were talking about that people were calling in and they got bigger and bigger as it was happening. Think about the Oscars. Nobody cared about the Oscars. Nobody watched the Oscars. Will Smith smacks the crap out of Chris Rock. Everybody. That went viral. Everybody's like, oh my God, did you see that? Did you see it? And they said they had the highest ratings for the Oscars ever, but it was like a spike because at one time everybody was talking about it. Yeah. So maybe it has to be something that's live.
I told you, smack somebody with your book, bro. Bang! What was the book that you smacked that person with?
You've been designated.
The San Diego Comic-Con's right now. I just fly over there and just smack everybody in the back of their head.
Just smack somebody in the head with it. Yo, Michael Sammartino.
That guy's racist. He's not buying the book.
Yo, Mike Sammartino, big jokester, right? He likes to joke around. He's been posting. He's been saying the movies that.
No, he's right.
What do you guys? What do you guys think about? What do you guys think about the big Greek wedding? Like, do you think that was word of mouth?
Yes, it was. I remember.
It
nobody cared about it, but then it was a quote unquote good product. It had a mass appeal, and then people went crazy about watching this movie, and they turned it into a series. Now they're gonna make another one. They're making a sequel. I saw the trailer for the newest sequel.
Oh snap! Really? I didn't even know that. Yeah, I know they made the didn't they make a play or something? Like they did a lot with that thing.
They did a play. They did 2 movies. They're gonna make a 3rd one. They did the TV series.
Is it My Fatter Greek Wedding?
My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
No, it's a sequel called My Fatter Greek Wedding.
My Fatter Greek Wedding. Damn.
My morbidly obese Greek wedding.
Wow. But there was, you're right. There was an appeal. There was a mass appeal, and I think that's what you have to have. Not just obviously the word of mouth is great, but you have.
Yeah. I mean, same thing happened with the Turtles when they put out that first comic and people just started eating it up. It's like how do you create that buzz today when there's so many options for entertainment? How do you create that buzz today?
Back then with them, man, it was kind of genius, right? Because nobody had, indies were a dime a dozen back then, right? So they created this Mirage Studios. They made this thing look like it was bigger than it was, and people were eating it up. Like, what the hell is this? Sold out of the first 500 books, black and white comic. Like, what the hell? And they created their own buzz, right? They created their own, fake it till you make it kind of thing. And next thing you know, there's cartoons, movies, more cartoons, more movies. They've drawn them in different versions. They've done all kinds of cartoons, whether it's 3D or like live action movies and stuff like that. What was your favorite iteration of the Turtles? Mark.
Mine is the original cartoons.
The cartoons from the 80s.
With the original theme song, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage.
But the funny thing is, that's not even what the comic book was like.
I know, but that was like they're the world's most fearsome fighting team.
I know. But what I'm saying is they lit. I mean, if you think about it, they sold out, right? Like if you think about like, oh my God, they sold out because it's nothing like what their comic book was. But they realized this is how we're gonna make some money.
Yeah,
this is how we're gonna do it.
Yeah,
with Teenage Mutant. That's how we're gonna do it. Not with this old school, dark, gritty, black and white comic. Now we got to give them color. We got to have, they're all different bandana colors. You know what I mean? So kids can say, "Oh, I like the orange one," even if they didn't know their names. I like the blue one. I like the red one.
Dude, I still like the movie with Vanilla Ice. Ninja, rap.
Wow. Battletoads switch. Go, yes. Holy God, dude.
Watching that music video is hard.
Was it lose the hero? Oh, wait, lose the zero, get with this hero? Well, that's what he said. Vanilla Ice.
Was that Vanilla Ice or was that?
Yeah.
What's his name?
It was Vanilla Ice singing the song. I don't remember the lyrics.
Remember he had the motorcycle, or was it? I thought it was him. Anyway, those are the days. It was fun,
it was fun.
It was. That's what it was. It's the fun. I mean, I think you think about it. Even today, it's so hard because everything's so dark, gritty. There's that shock factor that everyone's trying to do, and they're trying to outdo the last one, and the fun is gone. Right. And it's all about the special effects, and it's all about the drama, and it's all about what's trending in society. Right. Throwing all those topics. Right. And the story and the heart is gone. Right. That's why so many people are getting disappointed with the movies, because this is not what I read. This is not what I grew up with. I don't recognize that character. What is that on the screen? Who's directing this? So I think how do you bring the fun back? I think the big thing is the magic and the fun. How do you get people excited? How do you get them motivated? How do you spark the kid again? That inner child that just wants to just explore, have fun, laugh, and go into adventures. I think about the never-ending story, right? I love that when I first saw it, right? And that's who we were as kids. You opened up a book and you went to a magical world, right? And that's what you want to be able to provide, and how do you do it?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So right there is a way to create the need to have something positive. Now you just have to figure out how to get it to the right people to make that word of mouth happen.
Yeah. To answer Mike's question, I'm leaning Oppenheimer that weekend. That's next weekend, actually. They come out at the same time. People have bought both movies, from what I understand.
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. It's fantastic.
Yeah. They're not gonna do it.
It was just like with Josie and the Pussycats. Like they weren't gonna have the song in the movie. Like, I'm not watching that. And then like at the last minute they put it at the end of the movie. Like, all right, we'll see it now.
Barbieheimer. There you go, Barbenheimer.
Yeah,
but you need that. I mean, I think it's like one of the things I'd love to see is like a remake of the Gremlins. Right?
Nah, see, I don't want to see remakes. I really don't.
The cartoon was good. You didn't see the cartoon?
I haven't seen the cartoon.
It's out now.
It's a good cartoon. Yeah.
Where's
the
it
first
at?
season already aired.
Where?
I have my ways of seeing it. I don't know exactly where it's on.
Oh, you're one of those. You're one of those.
No way. I didn't even know there was a cartoon, bro.
Yeah, it's called The Secrets of the Mogwai. It's like a prequel to this original series. It was surprisingly entertaining. I was like, wow, this is kind of fun. It was good. And they even got the original the lead. What was the guy's name? Billy. What was his name? The actor.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah, Billy. I don't know his real name, but yeah. He was in it.
He voiced one of the henchmen. So I was like, oh, that was kind of cool, and it was a really good little story.
So was it 2D or 3D?
It was a 3D animated.
3D animated.
So we talk about the magic and bringing back that the playfulness. Think about the impact that Grogu had on the Mandalorian. That became it. Everywhere you looked on social media, people were drawing Grogu, right? Everyone was doing their own version of Grogu.
Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda, right? So it just popped off. Popped off. They fell in love with it, right? Because it brought them back, and it was adorable, and it was. How do you do that? How do you capture that essence, that magic? I mean, Buzz Lightyear was a great series until they started doing all these things to the movie and trying to be socially relevant instead of just telling the story of the damn toy who was a human who became a toy, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, stay away from society. Doesn't want to be reminded of what's happening. They wanted to go on adventures. Take them on an adventure.
All right, Mogwai's on HBO Max, and it has Zach Galligan.
That's why I don't have HBO Max.
Yeah, I got to check it out. I may check that out after this. Yeah, I may check that shit after this. But
I'll hook you up with some links.
Nice.
Oh yeah, send me a link.
I'll hook you up with some links. That was never said on the air. That never happened. Hashtag what was the movie for you?
We're talking about hot dogs.
Yeah.
Links.
Yeah, links.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
There you go. There you go. I got this.
That's it. Oh man, but yeah, for anybody who's watching, just real quick reminder: tomorrow, Mark and myself, we're gonna be at a comic book shop signing copies of this bad boy right here, Royal Collectibles. We're gonna be there signing from 3 to 6 p.m. tomorrow here in New York.
Yes,
New York. Is it a big store, Mark?
It's a small store, actually. I said, book your flights now to fly down there. It's a small store. They have a back room. I don't know where we're going to set us up at, actually.
Okay.
But they have been there for the longest, as I remember. That Royal Collectibles has been there for as long as I can remember. It's a family-owned store, mom-and-pop store. And we have, we're going to bring some original pages down to see if we can sell those so people can check it out, see the differences. I have some Pete Palmiotti inks. Russ Braun said he was going to do sketches for free for anybody who buys a book, which is awesome. We have my co-host, Elman Jenny Feldy, as cosplaying as my character, or Natasha, the main lead. I think it'll be great. I've never done a book signing before. I know, George, you've done one, right?
Yeah, I did one at the Spider's Web here in Yonkers.
So what is that like? What am I expecting?
So it's gonna be cool, man. So you're gonna, the way they did it, it's almost like you said, like your own personal, convention. So you have your table, you'll have your setup. When people walk into the store, if you've told enough people, if there's enough buzz, if there's enough word of mouth, hopefully they're there to see us, and they'll just come to the table and we'll sign the books. Or when they walk into the store, they'll be like, oh, what is? I think people like that. Yeah, smack them with a book. People like that stuff.
I got the slab. These things are heavy. I got the slab.
Oh, you got the slab. Nice.
I hit him with that.
Look at you.
So wait, this is you said there's 75 of these books in existence.
Yeah, 75 of these in existence. So this is 1 out of 75 in here. You have one.
I have one. Yeah.
So that's 74.
Yeah. So there's only 74 out there. 73, I should say, out there after you see these. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's freaking awesome. Yes, I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. So from 3 to 6 p.m., if you guys are in the Queens area, go down to Metropolitan Avenue. Yeah, if you don't buy this book, you're racist.
Yeah, what's up with that, bro?
That's gonna be the tagline. If you don't buy Designated, you're racist. Oh man, yeah, it's gonna be good, dude. It's gonna be good.
Don't be starting no drama. That's awesome.
Yeah, guys. So what else you got, Mark? Anything else? Anything else you want to promote while you're on the show? I know it came from the radios out. So when does that come out?
Came from the radio. New episodes are released on all the other stations on Monday on a Facebook page, Twitter. But like I said, we're now back live at 6 p.m. on 95.5 FM WGBB, and I think it's WGBBradio.com or something like that. Just type in WGBB, and it'll bring you to the thing that's live audio streaming. On
type it in, damn it. Type it in.
Yeah, type it in. Hit that button.
Hit that button.
Always say Google itcamefromradio.com. That's another easy way to find us. But it's the word of mouth. Like, I've been doing this for 20 years, and it's a weird word of mouth. It works for us because I know all the people that are running the conventions. So it's weird how that's how my word of mouth came to like I know a lot of them.
That's crazy. I
know the head of New York Comic Con. He called me out when he saw me.
Really?
And when I was in San Diego in 2008.
Damn.
I was standing in line, and I hear Mark. I was like, and it was him. And I was like, holy crap! He remembers me.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah.
So word of mouth does work. I can say it does work, or else I wouldn't be here right now.
That's true.
But I none of it has ever been purposeful on my end. It's always been Accidental word of mouth. Because if I could figure that out,
Yeah,
I'd be in this big studio right now. It's supposed to this little room right now.
nah, man. But you've been doing this for a while, and it came from the radio. Really, really, it's a fun show, man. I listen to it. You know, when you guys have the new episode, I like your format. Like I like the fact, and you're about the clock, man. I'll give you credit. You're about the clock. We have this much time left. We got to get this stuff done, and it works. It works, and the cast of characters that you have on the show are a fun cast of characters.
The thing that we started on was live. So doing it live is what I'm just used to doing, and just keeping track of the time and having a team of co-hosts really help. It's really difficult when you're on your own. So if you have a team of people helping you out, doing what they do, doing a little specialty, it makes the show go so much easier. And what's weird, I've always noticed, when I go back and listen to it, it sounds very different than when you were at the studio. Because you don't hear what everybody's saying. You're kind of focusing on your own thing.
Oh, I see. So it's a different experience when you listen to the show rather than when you're making. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But yeah, no, it's a fun show. So guys, check it out. It came from the radio. Check us out tomorrow. Designated book signing at Royal Collectibles, Metropolitan Avenue in Queens. That's going to be happening from
my own stopping ground.
Yeah, Sammy, take a flight. You coming over or what? What's up?
Negative.
Yeah.
Sam's not flying for conventions for a long time.
This ain't a convention. This is a book signing, bro.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Book signing. Come on down.
I'll be with you in spirit.
Oh man, wait, listen.
George, do you have a cutout to bring?
Yeah, I'm gonna cut myself out. Yeah, no, I'm gonna
bring a cutout of Sam, and we'll put him next to
like this with the guns. Let's go.
Yeah. All right.
I need a tan. I just realized that. I'm Blanco Popular.
You go outside and freaking in sweatsuits and stuff.
The sun's so damn hot out here. I wear a hoodie. I'm like,
you're
nah.
freaking nuts, bro.
Yo, people look at me like I'm crazy. I was like, you crazy? That sun touches your skin. You're roasted, bro. They're gonna think I'm like a freaking pernin when I go outside. They're like, oh hell no, what is that?
Yeah.
It's like I smell chorizo.
That's word of mouth right there. Look at that crazy guy in the hood. He's selling comics. You could be the crazy guy selling comics in the hood.
Just wear your duty hoodie.
I run around with my dogs. I got my hoodie on and I'm running around the yard with the dogs because that sun is like, it was like 106
today.
You
run around in 106 degrees with a hoodie on?
Yeah.
Psycho. Holy cow.
I don't.
Attention.
Yeah. When he falls on the floor.
Yo, you ever had a Texas sun hit your face and you get like that heat headache? It is the worst. It is the worst. It's like, It's like, damn, this is not the sun. Man. This is like lava. I was like, what is this? Yeah, it's crazy.
We're losing audience. Right?
We're losing
altitude. Let's circle back. Let's circle back to our controversy. Yes. Think about the Ocean Gate. Nobody would have cared about that guy if they didn't die.
Yeah, word. Too bad he died.
You know? I'm just saying that it's either something that has to be negative, something that's at the right place, right time.
Yeah.
Something that has a hook.
To your point, Mark, think about how many times he actually dove down there to see the Titanic. And it's the one time that they got into trouble with it that everybody knew about it. And then everybody was talking about, well, they use a controller. You know what I mean? Like you get the experts.
You get the experts coming in. So we need to create some type of a buzz that the experts are saying, well, this shouldn't have happened because of blah blah blah, or this did happen. Because look at all the reviews on YouTube. All the YouTubers always loving the negative stuff.
Yeah,
they love to trash things. You don't hear anybody on YouTube saying positive stuff.
Right.
So maybe that's the key. Maybe duty should be the positive light out there, and that should be the gimmick, the catch.
Right. Yeah. It's gonna be tough though.
Let the light shine on duty.
Yes.
Let the light shine on duty.
You gotta lean in on the duty humor, bro. Every time I hear you say, show me your best duty, I'm like, Sam, what the hell did you just ask for, bro? I think about what you're saying every single time.
Show me your duty.
You gotta get a bunch of toilet pictures, bro. Toilet pictures you're not gonna want to see.
That's my boy, babe. That's my boy.
You should draw a duty with Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poop.
What you said? What you said?
I said you should draw a duty with Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poop.
Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poop.
From South Park.
Yeah, see?
No.
South Park.
I wasn't a big South Park fan.
Oh, So Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo is a Christmas poo that creates magical stuff. It's like a piece of poo with a little Christmas hat on and little eyes. He goes,
Wow. And this is
appeal, bro.
And he's sober.
That's appeal, dude. That's what I'm talking about. Oh man,
he's sober.
That's
horrible.
The song.
There's no show next week. I'll be in LA. So we'll be back the week after. So I'll be traveling for work. And but when we come back,
show while you're traveling on the train. What? Come on, man.
No, I'll be in Los Angeles. I won't be on a train.
La Land.
What's it?
What happens in Los Angeles stays in Los Angeles.
Right. It'll be 5 o'clock Los Angeles time too. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'll tell you who's here the week after. It is. Let's see.
Come on.
We have two. Stephen Russell and Joseph Miles Pittman. And they are they're U.S. Army infantryman, veteran of Iraq War, current artist, Global Comics. It's Tales of Nihilism. That's what they're promoting on the show. So they'll be on the show, double duty. There you go.
Look at what you just said. Look at what you just said. What was the first thing you said about the artists, the creators?
The vets.
Yeah.
They're vets.
See, that's the gimmick. That's the catch.
That stays with you. That stays with you. Yeah.
That's the hook.
That's how you say, hey, did you see these military veterans working on a comic book? That's right there. That's your word of mouth.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Word of mouth, baby. Mark, thank you so much for coming on with us.
Yeah.
Man. This is fun, dude. Thank you for coming on. And
really appreciate it.
Yeah, the co-host. This is the first time we're trying something new. We're trying to bring in our guests and have them just, be part of the discussion rather than, we'll still promote the fact that you guys have stuff coming out, designated. Don't forget tomorrow book
We'll
signing.
give you a couple of minutes.
George will sign over the boobs.
Yeah. I'll sign right over the boobs.
Yes.
Yeah, this is hysterical, bro. Where did the oh no, they moved them up. I thought the artist had signed over the boobs at one point.
No, I'm looking at the boobs. If you look at the little square at the bottom.
You're looking at the boobs. There you are at the bottom.
Yeah, what's going on.
But dude, thank you so much for coming on. I will see you tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll see more people there tomorrow as well.
Yes, sir. Yes.
From 3 to 6, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and if you're going to be in Texas, August 5th, I will be at the Denton Comic Art Expo, and then the week after, be at Collected Comics with my boy Paulie G, and we're going to be having fun and doing it big. And we're doing a book signing there. And don't forget, if you like this episode, give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, subscribe, share it with a friend. When we grow, the indie community grows. We appreciate every single one of you in the chat tonight. Thank you, Michael San Martino, Paulie G, Dylan, Anibal Arroyos. Let's see, Dan Barlow, Lou Pons, Aurelis, ISAP Imaginations, Creative Outlet. And it came from the radio. On the radio. So with that said, I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
The Dreamer Medina.
And we are out. It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking?
Oh,
He described me. He said, I'm the...
What? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze. On Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.